The Marvels is a horror story for the MCU and for Marvel Studios and for Disney. Worse than we thought. We've been talking about the box office leading up. We talked about it in the aftermath. And now you've got some people that are either trying to explain the failure or run defense for the failure or this or that. But our man Chris Gore managed to trigger a lot of people with his tweet about this. Right, Variety, the Disney MCU is no longer a bulletproof box office franchise. First of all, it hasn't been. You haven't been paying attention if you thought it's been bulletproof for the last couple years. There's been disappointments. You've just refused to acknowledge them when they happen. But this post from Chris is like, so many people triggered by this. Turning Marvel and Star Wars into girls' brands will prove to be one of the costliest decisions in entertainment history. This thing has, 4.5 million impressions.
Crazy.
A lot of people obviously agree with them, but there's a lot of people out there that are like, this is just pure misogyny. The idea that women can't be allowed to be fans of this is so archaic. Women have always been fans of the blah, 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 blah. You have these people screeching about this, complaining about Chris, calling him this, calling him that. It's wild and stupid and insane. But this statement right here, it's only one sentence. It's a little bit more complex than just one sentence, right? Turning Marvel and Star Wars into girl brands will prove to be one of the costliest decisions in entertainment history. This statement doesn't mean that women haven't always been fans of Star Wars or Marvel or whatever. There's always been a portion of the fan base that is female, that has loved Star Wars since they first saw it. No one's denying that. No one's thinking that that's not the case. But the reality is it's been a brand that's dominated by men in a fan base, right? More men are fans of it than women. What Disney explicitly wanted to do was make it into at least 50-50, right? They wanted to open up and captivate a new audience. You'd get all these women who aren't interested in Star Wars and bring them in instead of worrying about the existing fan base. And what did we see happen for both of these franchises? When they decided to go that direction, they abandoned the core fan base of men and women that love that thing in order to pursue a new audience. And it turned out that audience was not interested in going to see Star Wars or Marvel products. They weren't interested in being pandered to. They might have been interested in something like, I don't know, Taylor Swift's Eras Tour. They might be interested in something like Barbie, but they didn't find it particularly compelling to come out all of a sudden become a Star Wars fan. And they just ended up pushing away the people, whether it was men or women, that supported them in the first place by trying to Disney-fy the Marvel and Star Wars universes.
You're absolutely correct. What else can you say? You're absolutely correct. This tweet is absolutely correct. They have pushed out a lot of people from the fan base. Not only it's like political reasons. I don't want to cater to old white men. Like whatever the case is, they just found this little circle of people that they wanted to cater to and made stories for that have no money, that don't watch their shows, except they just love to tweet about it, and I guess that's who they wanted to cater to. And it's cost them. It's cost them everything.
It's so shallow, right? The idea that, hey, let's take these characters that failed in the comic books, that no one was interested in the comic books. We're going to take them, make these $300 million movies about them. And we're going to pander to women by preaching about girl power, by preaching about how incredible it is that we have 3 stunning and brave actresses leading this movie. We're going to specifically go out and hire an inexperienced black female director so we can virtue signal more. We're going to gender swap the villain so that we can have a female villain as well. But we're just going to completely pander to everybody, virtue signal to everyone. Women didn't care. Women didn't show up to it.
Yeah, like they didn't.
Men showed up to it.
For the Marvels.
65% of the audience was men, just like it is for the pretty much the vast majority of MCU content in general. So
How
they
dare you women
failed.
not show up and support Brie Larson like you did for Barbie? How dare you?
It really is. These toxic women out there that would rather support Margot Robbie than Brie Larson after everything Brie Larson has been through. The attacks, the toxic fans that have come after Brie Larson, and the women only want to spend their money on Margot Robbie. Maybe they didn't spend it on Margot Robbie. Maybe they spent it to support Ryan Gosling.
That's true.
There's not a single actual masculine figure in the Marvels, because Fury isn't that. Like, not anymore. There was no masculine energy from Nick Fury in this movie.
No.
You have the father who gets like protected by the mother. You have the son who's just kind of like a fucking loser, 27 or 28, is like living at home with his parents still or whatever. I don't know what the fuck his deal is. Prince Yan, who looked kind of like a girl, and he's their prince in a matriarchal society where Brie Larson had to fight someone else for the right to his hand in marriage, and he's in an arranged marriage that he doesn't want to be in. There's no masculine characters in the Marvels, and it's the lowest box office in the history of the universe.